Anything that you feel over the next 2 years we should expect?
I think there are two or three things. I think first is, of course, that we have abandoned this idea of centralized planning and planning for everything. So that is done. I mean, you have a strategy, you work towards a strategy, but you don't plan for specifics. That much I think is clear. The second thing which is clear is that we have taken a model which is an open economy, which means that you have to take in a range of players and accommodate them all. There's room for everybody. We are large enough as a country and an economy to accommodate multiple approaches. I think both of these are clear. The third element, which is clear increasingly, is that governments are there to facilitate, and governments are there to enable. And that's what governments need to focus on and get done. So I think all these three are clear. And I think the manner in which India is trying to get this done is also fairly clear. That's the direction in which we are trying to push this. So that's one part of the story. The other part of the story is you alluded to, where we are in terms of the progress on the semiconductor mission. And clearly, the semiconductor mission has gone well. I've had multiple occasions to sort of dabble with this at different points in my career. And I think for the first time, you're actually seeing the grounding of the investments. And I think last year, we've had 4 factories nearly completed and built, and their pilot production start. And this year, full-fledged inaugurations of many of these factories is something that you will see. And I think it's a significant forward movement. And the conviction, what is most interesting is that people now suddenly are believing in India's semiconductor story so much that those who have made these investments are actually receiving orders. The fabs and the ATMPs are getting filled up. And there are 1 or 2 people who are now telling us that, we have to export everything because, we've got orders of so much. And so we want to export everything that we make here, which is fine, because I think the best test of industrial policy is whether you're competitive and whether you can export. Because even in the electronic component manufacturing scheme, that is our goal, that we should be competitive and we should export. Within ISM, of course, I think our task is not yet done. The Prime Minister had also mentioned this in the Semicon event in September, saying that there will be an ISM 2.0, which is getting its final sort of shape and structure. We have gaps to fill there. There is more which needs to come in, at least both in terms of fabs and in terms of certain advanced facilities. There's more which needs to come in terms of the entire value chain, including, equipment manufacture, materials, gases, and so on. So that ecosystem needs to sort of come together in India. That is one. And of course, the fact that, we have 20% of the design workforce of the world in the semiconductor space, many of them in GCCs, which nasscom also represents, eventually should convert itself into Indian IPs and should convert itself into actually designs which come out of India in this space. And those designs of chips becoming products which India is able to produce. I think that is the level of ambition, and that's the direction we are taking in that space. This is not just in India's interest, but in the world's interest, because if we are a dominant or if we are an important player in this space of electronics at each level of this game, even if you don't make everything, and even if you are large enough to make an impact on the rest of the economy, you've proved and you've established that you are a trusted supply chain partner, and you will insulate the world against some of, ultimately, how do you diversify risk? You diversify risk by having alternatives.